Okay, guys. Okay, so here's gonna be interesting. This is probably gonna be a pretty interesting video because of what I am gonna be discussing about. First and foremost, it'll be about Attack of Clones, which is not trademark my least favorite Star Wars movie. That title goes to episode 1. We're talking about episode 2. So, in this case, I'm going to talk about specifically about one kind of issue that I feel like is really strong in this movie. When you think of the prequels, I think one of the main points that we wanted to see the prequels and why the prequels were necessary was to kind of, fill you in on Anakin and Obi-Wan's story there, learning about the Jedi and all that stuff. But I think one of the main things we were excited about was obviously, Anakin and Obi-Wan's interactions, because because one of my biggest complaints, ties back into the New Hope. Remember when Obi-Wan was talking about Anakin? He was like, oh, he's a cunning warrior, he's a great star pilot, and a good friend. And then when you think about this movie, their first time they're in it, they're bickering, they're arguing. Oh, I want to save Padme. Oh, I have dreams about Padme. And, they never work. And then as soon as action, that whole time when they're talking and Padme's in sleep, that just ruins it because it's like you're wasting time that they could be spent working together as opposed to seeing bickering. And I think maybe it was trying to come off Anakin's dark side, but it really did not work. Even in that sense, I think it was way too, like, a good friend, number one, you simply don't see, because they're not really doing anything friends would do. They're not helping each other. They're not supporting each other. They're not doing any of that. So I feel like it's really lost the sense of friends. And so, when the action does kick in, they're kind of separate. So you don't really have action together. And as soon as they got together, guess who leaves? Anakin leaves, disobeys orders. So you don't get to see it. And as this action ends, Anakin again loses a lightsaber and learns a lesson. I just don't think enough of that good. Yet again, I just don't see it. I just don't see their true bond. And then they leave each other. Obi-Wan goes on a separate mission, and Anakin goes on a separate mission. I think, and then that's kind of big issues because you're 2 films in. And then the first film, like I said, Qui-Gon Jinn was definitely the main character, but as we know, Qui-Gon Jinn died. So, without any, information about no buildup of Obi-Wan and Anakin's bond in that movie. So, in this movie, you kind of expect it, but it doesn't really come in. Because they're separated for the majority of the movie, for the whole middle ground. And within that middle ground, I like the Camino stuff. I like all that. But you get to the plotline with Padme and Anakin. I just don't like that in that plotline. They're trying to handle a lot of different things. Trying to show Anakin and Padme that they love each other. Trying to hint at Anakin's dark side and show that it's a complicated relationship. Meshed together does not work. And I think one of the biggest things is that you would assume is that Anakin had no real big dark side to him until Revenge of the Sith. It's interesting that they're trying to play it out like he always had dark side. But I guess that's fine. But it's just, the whole thing is like infamous with that sand speech, and it just did not mesh. Well, and like every time they cut to the Camino thing, I'm like, yes, good action, punch him, and then they cut back to them eating and then having an argument about how this is a complicated relationship, and it does not work. This is not what Star Wars, is supposed to be. What it is. This is shifting something we very much don't need to be shifted, don't need to change it. That's kind of my thought. And then you get to that final act, and so I'm kind of scared. I'm not really doing a review. But then you get to Tatooine. And I find, again, it's not that interesting. I think that's plotline's really boring because it's not handled right. Possibly, if it's handled better, I could maybe enjoy it. It had the potential to possibly be good. Possibly seen something maybe you would have liked. Instead, you get a born version, and then Anakin runs off to save his mother. His mother dies, and then you get clips of him embracing the dark side, which is good. But then you have to follow that up with Anakin arguing with Padme, and I'm like, I don't like that. You didn't need to argue. I think it takes away from their relationship, so when they do end up marrying at the end of the movie, I'm just like, gosh, like, some of the stuff doesn't seem like you're cutting stuff out, and I'd rather see them building up their like, there was a whole scene on Naboo with his family, with Padme's family, that I saw at a deleting scene. I was like, I would have liked that over that sand scene, over them like exploring something that they can bond about, so that marriage at the end of the movie makes sense, and I enjoy that. And then you get to the final act, and I like the Geonosius part, and it was cool seeing like that, them all coming together, that whole Jedi bit, like that I love. And then and then it's like, oh my god, this is a great ending, and then they jump on the gunship. Padme falls out, and then Anakin and Obi-Wan are clashing. What is the first battle of the Clone Wars? Has to include them arguing. And then you look at the Clone Wars, they argue, but in a civilized, friendly manner. This is not civilized, it's not friendly. This is none of that. I don't like that because it takes away from, instead of maybe seeing, you could still have them argue, but we would never have to see it. Instead, focus more on the fact that clones are racing. George, you didn't need to show us this. I'd much rather want it to be all about the clones racing the droids, and then cut back to when they're on with Dooku. Like, that's kind of what. And then when they finally get to Dooku, even then, they don't work together. Anakin starts running, disobeys Obi-Wan's orders, and then get thrown against the wall. It's like, George Lucas, George, you've had enough time to say that Anakin is really aggressive. Can you show the last action scene with them together and working together? And clearly, that was not done. Because, number one, Obi-Wan and Dooku fight, and then Anakin gets up, and then he fights. No, together, as we see in Revenge of the Sith. I think one of the greatest things is Revenge of the Sith is you see all three things that Obi-Wan said in New Hope. Number one, a cutting warrior. You saw him work together. He was able to. You saw that. You can't admit. You saw that. He was a good warrior, good friend. He's really agile. The greatest star pilot. You saw that. Beginning of the movie, great pilot. He was able to save Obi-Wan's skin. a good friend. You saw it too. He saved Obi-Wan's life. Up until he turned to the dark side. You saw that. That's kind of why I like this movie. It tackles a lot of things. Revenge of the Sith, and it tackles a lot of things. It works. And it's sad they try to tackle a lot of things when the things that they definitely put to the sideline would have been much better than the things they actually did put. So you got my thoughts. I'm not really reviewing Attack of Clones or anything. I'm just stating a big problem that, So,